Hello and a warm welcome to all attendees joining today's webinar talking about Oracle Forms. Get the best out of Oracle Forms 12c. We are very pleased to introduce to you the capabilities and benefits of the latest 12c Forms version. My name is and a pleasure for me to moderate and take you through a quick tour through today's session. But, well, the main part of today's presentation will be performed by my colleague Ronald Steiner. He's a very seasoned forms expert and consultant at PITS, having achieved a huge knowledge based on numerous upgrade and modernization projects that he has been involved in using PITSCon product and solutions. So, Ronald, great that you're with us. Can you hear me well?
Hi, Sasha. Yes, I can hear you.
Great. So during his session, Ronald will share our experience achieved within the latest upgrade projects to 12c and handling 12c features and, of course, how to get the best out for you on Oracle Forms 12c. So like always, just some technical information at the beginning. So to minimize sound problems, all attendees' mics are set on mute during the presentation. But of course, you will have the possibility to ask your questions by chat to any dated topics coming up during Ronald's presentation. So therefore, please use the feature chat question. You will find this at the right bar of this GoToWebMeeting application. So please feel free to log in all your questions during the presentations to be discussed and answered then in the Q&A session at the end of the session today. So first of all, I'd like to take a chance for a quick intro and update about PITS and PITSCon product and solution stack for those of attendees who do not know about PITS. Heard about PITS before, short and sharp. PITS has been around 99, so we are 17 years in the business now. PITS is working globally, directly from our headquarters here in Germany with 2 locations, headquartered here in Stuttgart. We're targeting the UK market with PITS UK out of Twickenham, for the Americas with a daughter company PITS LLC out of Troy in Michigan. So moreover, we collaborate in various regions with dedicated and certified PITS partners as well, providing our solution and expert services in those countries backed by PITS directly. We have a very experienced team of 80 experts, 80 people, very experienced Oracle technology focus. We are a leading provider of tools for forms. We work successfully with hundreds of companies internationally, more than 500 customers in more than 40 countries are counting on PITS solutions. We're doing forms modernization, doing analysis, so all ongoing development support as well based on our solution, PITSCon. Our Oracle know-how. We are a long-standing Oracle partner. We are a preferred migration partner doing even better testing for latest forms versions. So that enables us, of course, to include in our solution, in our expert system, very fast any functionality required by new forms versions or released, provided by Oracle. So we do with 12c here now. And, well, we have one called PITSCon, a tool for high-performance Oracle applications. At PITSCon, based on a repository, it's not only a one-time disposable product, but a short and long-term. It's a multifunctionality tool to reduce costs and improve development processes, as well as further application maintenance. So therefore, our solution, PITSCon, offers a huge stack of functionality. It's known as an innovative product for analyzing, for maintaining forms, and even supporting the involvement of these applications so to 12c according to the Oracle technology stack. Well, our focus you see here with a huge expertise in forms, starting with Forms 2.0 up to latest Forms 12c and Forms versions to come. More than 22 years experience here within our team. We followed up, of course, the technology track from Oracle with a service-oriented architecture. We are very experienced. We ran projects supporting our customers on all these questions since more than 13 years. We have experience since 2006 in ADF migration projects from Forms to ADF with a tool-supported and high experienced way from starting with analyzing up to modernization and conversion to ADF. We ran successful projects there, and of course with more than 4 years now focusing on mobile as well, following our customer requirements and the technology stack to include and implement mobile applications. So we did projects, have experience here up to mobile application framework all around these solutions and all around supporting our customers in this way. Customers. Yes, we do have a lot of customers, and our product is not working on PowerPoint only. Many very customers around Europe, Middle East, North Africa, Pacific, and Americas, of course. If you are particularly interested in all the above, for a lot of customers on this slide, we have success stories in place. So come back to us if you need more information, if you would like to discuss your specific requirements. It is to state that all of these companies have one very important thing in common. They're using Oracle Forms reports applications or even provide forms-based applications as ISV partners, for example. So you see, you can be sure that you're in a very good company using Forms. So Forms is moving forward. And at that point, I would like to hand over to Ronald. After my short intro, we will move forward talking about 12c and following his agenda that Ronald will introduce. Just give you the moderator rights, Ronald, and you can move forward. Okay, I can see your screen.
Okay, perfect. I just wanted to ask.
Yeah, perfect. Works.
Okay. Thank you, Sasha. From me as well, a warm welcome from the sunny Stuttgart in Germany. We have really nice weather today, so hopefully you have too. Let me introduce a bit myself. As Sasha mentioned, my name is Ronald Steiner. I'm working since 4 years now for PITS in Germany. My main topics I work on are, of course, Forms upgrades, Forms modernizations, doing Forms of development stuff, and of course everything to do with PITSCon, making analysis, working with within PITSCon projects and so on at the customer. Okay, but let's go to the topic of today. Get the best out of Oracle Forms 12c. Here are the points we will go through. I have a little agenda. At first, we will take a look at, we'll have a little introduction into Oracle Forms over the last couple of years. We will have a look at the new deployment options and the latest version. Then the defining of the custom color schemes available in Forms 12c. We'll have a look on the new features regarding the record manager and at the improvements of the Java pooling. And at the end of the presentation, we will have a question and answer session where we will try to answer as much as possible. Okay. Everybody who's here now listening at the moment probably knows Oracle Forms for a couple of years now. And everybody probably was thinking in the last years how it will go on with Forms. Will there be Forms 12 or not? And if yes, when it will be? Then finally, at the end of the last year, Forms 12 was released and it was clear, okay, the Forms journey will go on. And for sure, Forms 12 have some new features, as we say in Germany, in the luggage. Let's see what we have here. We have, for example, the BI publisher integration. We have some new system events. We have the client configurations. We have improvements in the Jvm controller, where we will have a look on it. We have the tab canvas label icons, where we can very easily put some icons on the tab canvases. We have improvements in the record manager and so on. There are a lot of things, yeah, as we say in the luggage. When we look at the graphic, we see that the last version of 11G R2 was released 5 years ago, quite a long time. And we see too that Java pooling was available since Forms 10 in 2005. So here were made some improvements. So even only in the last 10 years of Forms, a lot have happened. And that's only from version 10 to 12. When we look at a complete Forms history, a lot of things had happened. So let's go on. So we're here now in Forms 12. And the question is, of course, should I upgrade? Or why should I upgrade, perhaps? My application is running since many years now with no problems. Why should I upgrade? There are at first two simple answers. The first one, every version has some new features. Mostly they're useful. The possibilities, embedding new technologies, and so on. Second one is, of course, a question of support. Only 11G R2 has still premier support for a couple of months. Extended support is not much better at the moment. So if you're running an application which is critical for your business and you're not under support, it can get very expensive for you and for your company. There are probably some more reasons, but these two should be enough to at least think of upgrading to the latest version of Oracle Forms. Now let's start with our first point on the agenda, the deployment options. Everybody is aware of the Forms application running in the browser. The applet is running in the browser window. You can choose here between separate frame true or false to change the look of the application, that's all. In Forms 12, you have now 3 more different client deployments, client deployment options which come out of the box. We will have today a look on the web start and the standalone option, especially. But there are in some 3, so there's the JNLP embedded in HTML. We have the web start and standalone option, and as I said, we will have a look on web start and standalone. The possibility of using web start is not new, and you could use web start in 11G as well, but it was not supported and not that easy like it is in the latest version of Forms. Here just a short example of the common calling via browser. It is still the same behavior as in 11G. You can start the application from the Forms builder or with the URL in the browser. Everybody knows it probably. I will go over that very quick. Just to sum it up, the browser is still the default behavior in Forms 12. It's the same behavior as in 11G. You have here the full support for SSO, single sign-on, single sign-on logout in JavaScript. To play a little bit with the appearance of the application, you have the possibility for separate frame true or false. What most people don't like about these options, separate frame true, is that the empty browser window stays in the background. And if you then close the browser window, then the whole application is closed. So that's why not much people or customers from us use that option, separate frame true. Yes, and in this default option, you need the Java plugin and the browser, as it was before. Problem here is that, for example, Google Chrome has stopped allowing to use this Java applet. Firefox will cancel that as well. I think it's just a matter of time when the rest will follow, so that's probably the reason for the web start option. So here is the web start. You can call the application either from the browser or CMD. Probably you will do that over the CMD, the console. Since it was in 11G, more effort to implement the Java web start, there are today only 2 more parameters in the forms of CFG. Here on the left side, you have the 2 sample sections out of the forms web CFG. So you see there are only 2 more parameters, the base JNLP and the web start, where you can enable or disable the web start. And on the right hand, as you can see, the application, you have a more Java desktop look and feel, not look and feel. Yeah, it looks like a Java desktop application, and you don't have the browser URL and the browser toolbar, the browser menu, and so on. So that's all. That's very easy. That is the section of the Forms web which I used for my call of the demo application. The section looks pretty normal as before. I added only the 2 new parameters. If I would comment them out, the application would start in the browser. But I have web start enabled. I have the base JNLP, and that's all. So it's really very, very easy to implement the web start option. Let's have a look at that base JLMP file. Here you can find the jar files needed and signed by Oracle. Here in this case, you see the FRM all jar and the FRM WebUtil jar. No problem at the moment. Problem starts if you want to use the Jacob jar, for example, or your own jar files needed for your own application. Then you will get that error message on the left. Sorry for the German, but yeah, it means jar resources do not have the same certificate. So there you will get into problems. So that's the reason for the next file, which is above down the base JNLP. It's the extensions JNLP. In this file, you have to add all the jar sources which are not signed by Oracle. Every jar file in a separate section, not as you're used to, like in Forms Web CFG, one after another, separated. Every jar file has to have his own section. If you added there your jar files, after that the error message should not appear anymore, and your application will start with no issues, hopefully. So as you saw, it's very easy using the web start options. It's very easy to implement in 12c. You have only add 2 parameters in the Forms Web CFG, so it should be no problem. You don't need a browser at the client side, only a JDK. If you use a browser, you of course need a Java plugin. Look reminds to a Java desktop application. So as I said, you don't have the browser, but you can start it via browser, but of course you can start it over the console, which is probably the better solution. You have unfortunately limited SSO support only when you start it in a browser, and you have no support for SSO logout and JavaScript. Now let's see what the so-called standalone option is about. Here Oracle has a help page where you get all the information you need. It's here the HTTP form server and so on, FSAL, HTM. You get information how to call the application, and you can download a necessary file from here. And that's the FRM SRL jar. You see it down here, the call of the Forms application, and there you call the FRM SRL jar. If you download the file, it's almost done. So in this case, you find again the example section in the Forms with CFG, and here on the right hand, you see my section with which I started the application. Here again, there are 2 more parameters to be set for that new feature. This plus the jar file, and you can start the application in the standalone mode. Here I stored the jar file. As you see, it's a pretty small one, and from this location I start my application as well. We found one little strange thing in that configuration. When starting the application, all necessary jar files are downloaded to the client. That's okay. But they will be downloaded and updated every time you start the application, even if they are already there. The strange thing about it that is that this is only happening for jar files bigger than about 10 kilobyte. They are not updated. The other way should be more comprehensible, but it isn't. Depending on your security and your number of size of jar files, it will take quite a long time to start the application. For example, you have a virus scan and it scans every time the jar files they are downloaded with each start of the application. We didn't find any reason for or workaround yet, but we will have a look on that and perhaps send some questions to Oracle. As you see here on that slide, I started the application at 3:57 p.m. the first time. All jar files were downloaded, and then I started the application again at 4:08 p.m. and only the smaller than round about 10 KB were updated, and so only the bigger ones, they are downloaded again and updated. So that's the little strange thing we found here in the standalone mode. Altogether, there are some pros and cons, of course. You don't need a browser. The examples available from Oracle are pretty good. The look reminds again to a Java desktop application. The FRM style jar is delivered and supported from Oracle, not as, for example, the Jacob jar, where you have to sign it by yourself. It's signed by Oracle. Again, you can start it via browser or console, but yeah, why should you start it via browser? So it does not make sense for me. We didn't find any problems with the different certificates yet. So the problem we had with the web starts to add them in the extensions, JLP, since now we didn't find there any problems. Cons are, again, some unsupported features, or JavaScript, for example. Yeah, you need a JDK or JRE, but that's not really a con. But what's a con, or yeah, it's strange, is that thing that the jar files bigger than 10 kilobytes are reloaded every time you start the application. And yeah, we don't know really how to stop that. Okay, that's it for now with the deployment options. One more new feature in 12c are the custom color schemes. Self-designed color schemes for the application. For sure, there are look and feel and color schemes in former versions, but only a small number of them. And when I think of Titanium or Olive, you really have to love your application to like that. Here you find in the custom color schemes more individual possibilities. But as we were asked sometimes, but is there a use case for that? Why should I do that? At first sight, the colors are definable in the registry DATS. So that's a file where you can define it. We will have a look on that one as well. Idea of the color scheme is to extract color settings outside of the programming environment. Means no coloring over code, properties, visual attributes, and so on. One use case we might think of is, for example, to make the different levels of developments visible for the user without changing the code. That could be a use case, for example. You have a test environment in whatever green, production, test 2, acceptance test, whatever. So it's visible for everyone. Most of us for sure tested once in a production environment, so that wouldn't happen if we had different colors, for example. But or with hard-coded colors that will they will overwrite the registry.dat file. There we have a beautiful example with the depending registry registry.dat file and the depending mapping of the parameters. As you can see, you can define different colors for the window header, for example. The toolbar has a different color, scroll bar, the current records, the frames, and so on. So you're pretty free in the color and can play around and define your own color scheme for what everybody likes, perhaps, or everybody sees in the first sight. Okay, that's my test environment. Here, one more example of my colleague David Brown. Thank you, David. He's obviously a Manchester United fan. We just wanted to show how quick and easy you can define your individual color schemes for your application. You can call the different schemes over the Forms Web CFG, like you did before. You had the color scheme when you had the look and feel Oracle, and color scheme you can choose Titanium or Swan or whatever. Here you have a new parameter. It's called custom color scheme. It's added to the Forms Web CFG, and you store it in the needed section and start application with your defined color scheme. Yeah, that's pretty much all about the colors. I think if you play a little bit around with that, you will see pretty quick how it works. It's very easy. Okay, but let's go further in the agenda. The record manager. All data manipulation and editing go through the record manager. The record manager is not new. It was just a little bit opened now for the developers. You have one new built-in, the get rec mgr stats, where you get information about the record manager, what's in that record manager. So, as I said, record manager was opened a bit for the developer. But it's not possible to manipulate here, but you can see how memory is used at the moment. There are 4 types of record manager stats. There's the all record data, the archived record data, the active record data, and the record anchors. The all record data is the sum of the three others, so that's that all together then. You can query the values with the record mgr mapped, record manager written, and so on. But just let's have a look now how that would look like. If you create a simple form where you display the values, it could, for example, look like that. The values specify estimated numbers of bytes consumed by that type of memory. I'm not quite sure yet how to read and to interpret these numbers, as I don't have a comparison yet. But if your application has some memory or performance issues, you will get from here perhaps an idea, or you can locate the problems a little bit. As I said before, you can manipulate, you can only get information, and then you have perhaps to investigate what to do with that results you get out of this. To sum it up, a record manager is not new, but was opened a little bit, although it would have been useful in earlier times when memory was more expensive. So, okay, but let's go on. And the next one will be the topic Java pooling. Java pooling, as we saw in the beginning, is not a new feature. You can use it since Forms 10. But Oracle has some improvements here as well. But let's have a look what Java pooling actually is. As it says here, when a Forms application calls out to Java, a JVM is attached to each form process the first time the process makes a call. And then this JVM remains attached to each process. So it's stays there. Java Virtual Machine Pooling is a separate process that contains the JVM controller, and here exactly in the JVM controller are the new features hidden. When you enable JVM pooling, administrators can consolidate the number of running JVM instances so that the form sessions can share JVMs rather than each one having its own instance. So, long sentence, but I think everybody, I think it's clear. The result is, of course, or the result can be a large reduction in memory consumption, but freeing up more resources on your server. So here you can see what we heard before. When a forms application calls out to Java, a JVM is attached to each form process. We see here every client calls a forms runtime, and every forms runtime has its own JVM. And so here you see the behavior if pooling is disabled, if Java pooling is disabled. So JVM remains attached to each process. But then using JVM pooling brings the potential to significantly reduce resource usage for a forms installation to call out to Java. So that's pretty easy to understand. So several runtime processes share JVMs if pooling is enabled. It could look like that. So we have now only one virtual machine running. We have some forms runtime processes, and they share one. So it's actually clear there is less memory usage. To go back now to the new stuff, and that happens here at the child Jvm Management. Here, children JVMs are spawned as needed. When these extra JVMs are no longer needed, the controller can be configured to terminate them. Here, there are two JVM controllers. Here, the first one is using only one in-process JVM. The second one is using 3 JVMs because he has as well child JVMs. And that's now where the JVM controller comes in the session. Because the JVM controller is used to manage the extra memory used by forms and manage the memory used by Java calls made forms runtime. In previous versions, the JVM controller was either on or off. Now you have more possibilities to choose. It can now be configured in forms 12 to work in the most efficient configuration. We will see which options you have here. So what's new here in the Java pooling? You still have off, of course. JVMs would not be removed automatically by the JVM controller. That was the first site we saw. Every forms process has its own JVM. Then instead of the on mode, you have now 3 more different modes, and that's first one is the aggressive one. So the frequency of removing child JVMs is at its highest. Then you have a moderate mode and the very conservative mode, which is lower than the previous, so it's has the lowest frequency to terminate the child JVMs. Here on this slide, it's pretty much the same from the Oracle website, but you have here more detailed information about the first one. I only had here the important lines for that, but you have here a little bit more detailed information about the different configuration options regarding the Java pooling. Okay, it was pretty fast, I think, probably because I'm speaking English, then I'm running always. That's from my side, and I think Sasha will now take over again.
Yeah, please hand over, or I take moderator rights. Hold on. Okay, I got it.
Okay.
You see my screen? Hopefully, can you see my screen?
Yes, I see it now.
Perfect. Okay. So thanks, Ronald, for this very interesting insight view. I'm pretty confident that audience realize these potential benefits probably for their project requirements or move to 12C as well. So at this point, before heading forward to a Q&A session, and at that point I would like to encourage you to place any questions in the chat so we can discuss or answer any questions that may arise during Ronald's presentation. Please put it in the chat and bar, and we will discuss. But before moving forward, I would like to give you and provide a quick overview of our offer and how we could support you on your way to 12C, or when you're already working on 12C, how you could benefit from our experience. There is one in 12C, of course, the possibility to support you with individual webinars. That means that we do one-to-one webinar, discuss about your individual requirements, your requests to start with a knowledge transfer, probably already thinking about a cleanup of an application, demonstrate how this could be achieved, and well, discuss to get you and able to get the best out of 12C. On the other hand, if you're not yet on 12C, and if you're considering this upgrade path, we can support you with an in-depth analysis of your existing system, where we load your application code, where we parse the sources, where we create a sophisticated analysis with 100% view on your application code, so that we are able to determine the efforts, the time, that we can identify the critical built-ins, critical obsolete codes or objects that may you have inside your code, depending on what version you're coming from. So we can identify and state a real project plan based on this analysis result, so that you can be sure that the time and effort stated are real and not a guesstimate, but based on your real application. And finally, of course, within our bundle, we can offer you an upgrade package, so we support you in all the technologies that are required around 12C. Example like a WebLogic server update and configuration, unit testing, or even support during deployment, and of course can support you on-site based on your individual requirements. So would be happy if you come back to us for any questions, any requirements that you have around here. We would be happy to support you. Ronald just mentioned that he has done a very quick overview. It's a lot of stuff, but we always want to have it short and sharp. It is possible, of course, to get a video. So if you have your mobile available, you just scan it. On the other hand, the presentation and the session is recorded and will be available on our YouTube channel. On the other hand, there is a 3-minute video, very comprised with short abstracts about Forms 12C new features. Take a look at. I think it's very interesting what I've seen, what my colleagues have prepared here. So you get a really 3-minute inside view on 12C new features as well. On the other hand, I would like to encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Here you always find the latest stuff, latest videos, latest information from our teams about functionality, about 12C, about projects. Yeah, join here, log in, subscribe. Would be happy if you join this community as well. Okay, so at this let's take a look if there are any questions from your side. Yes, I think there are. So Ronald, do you see them?
Yeah. Yes, I see them, okay. And I see my colleague Daniel starts answering some, and I will answer some as well. For example, we have here one. Here's someone who asked how difficult it would be to upgrade to 12C from 11G. So normally that should not be a big issue. So it's just compile it and run it. So there are no is no different behavior. There are not a lot of obsolete built-ins and so on. So that shouldn't be a problem to upgrade from 11 to 12. So that was one question.
Sorry, I think it's more or less a question of WebLogic server configuration then in the 12C environment.
Yes,
if I follow your
could be something else, but just the FMBs to migrate in not to migrate to upgrade from 11 to 12. It's not a big deal.
Yeah. Okay.
So another question is it easy to migrate from 6i to 11c? It's as easy as from 6i to 11g and to 10. Or almost to 10. So that doesn't make a big difference if you migrate from 6 to 11 or to 12, as the step from 11 to 12 is very small. So that was a question.
Sorry if I understood this question correct, Ronald. We're talking about upgrading from Form 6 to 11?
No, the question is from 6 to 12.
We would recommend definitely to move to 12C at this stage. So if you're running in 6, you would no more recommendation to go to 10 or to 11.
That's definitely, but it's the same from difficultness to from 6 to
complexity. Yeah. Okay.
Yes. So that was the issue.
Okay.
Let's have a look here. There are a lot of questions. I will go through of them. If we don't answer all of them, please be a little bit patient. We will answer all of them, but now I have to look through. Some of them I have to think of at first. Here's a question about the custom coloring example. The application contains lots of defining in code. Does this need to be removed? Yes, it has. So everything, properties and codes, visual attributes, is used prior to the registry that. So, for example, in the properties, you have to use the default value, and if possible, no code, no setting colors within the code.
Anything else you would like to answer right now? Ronald?
No. Now I have one question, but that's depending on mobile, and there I'm not the expert. I would here ask my colleague to take care of the questions depending mobile.
Okay. So I see that there are also questions about Apex. Well, today, of course, we are focused on 12C, but well, I just point out some sessions that could be interesting for those attendees.
We'll sorry,
focus on this. Yes.
Just one more question
Yeah,
here.
go ahead.
Which features, functions have been deprecated? As I know from at the moment or since now, I didn't found really any deprecated functions means built-ins. But if we will find there, I can let you know.
I think you
Okay,
will put
sorry,
this in the
Sasha.
community. Yeah, you will put this in the community. Okay, so taking a look at the time. So I think we are perfect in time so far. I would like to close this Q&A session. At this point, be assured all the answers or the questions will be answered. So you will receive your answer by email. Definitely don't worry. Thanks for this interest, for this huge interest that we see here. We saw this already in a couple of other sessions that we had. I would like to point out at this point the events, webinars that we're doing that already scheduled. So there's a running huge PITS roadshow together with Oracle, talking about forms to mobile cloud. It's focused here in German-spoken market. We have a interesting session next week in London. So if you are from UK, I would be happy to meet you at the UK SIG in London. There we have a presentation about Forms 12c as well. There is the Apex Connect, for those who are interested in Apex, a huge, very interesting event in Berlin, also next week, a place to be. Some webinars talking about Lift application migration into the cloud. In May, in June, we have scheduled one about ADF Apex, any other technology, forms migration. It's the second part of the series of webinars we started earlier this year to this topic. So it's the second part already, the preparation. You can find the first part, if you have missed, in our YouTube channel, of course, and there will be a couple of other events around the globe where you can find us. So there's one in June for sure. Our colleagues in the States have a lot of events as well available. So if you need any more information, please contact us here for the Americas with my colleague Jason Mara at jmara@pitsamerica.com. For any requirements for UK or from other regions, global, appreciate if you will contact directly me at ssander@pitss.com or my colleague David Brown, dbrown@pitss.com. Would be happy to be to your assistance and look forward to your questions. So at that point, let me thank you for your time, for joining us. Thanks to Ronald again for this great presentation. We are looking forward to meeting you. Thank you. Have a great day wherever you are. Goodbye.
Thank you for joining. Bye.